What is up guys, Karataka here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we'll be going over the BT-16 Imperialdramon deck. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. So for this deck, we are going to be using the Wormmon base instead of a Vmon base because I feel like Wormmon has a little bit a better rookie for BT-16, and we'll go over all of those later on. But for that reason, we're actually running the Minomon instead of the Demi-Vmon for our level 2s. So we're running 4 of the ST9 Minomon. This one lets you get 1000 DP when you have a blue Digimon in play. So yeah, we don't have the draw. We don't have the draw now, but that's okay because extra DP is nice. We don't always have jamming now, so having a little bit of an extra DP is nice. So next we are going to be running for the level 6s. We're running 3 of the new rare Imperialdramon Dragon mode from BT-16. So it's got 2 effects, and it can digivolve on top of Digimon or Imperialdramon for 3. So when digivolving, one of your Digimon or Tamers can unsuspend until the end of the turn, and then by suspending one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, unsuspend one of your Digimon. So you can use this as an extender to attack again, which is pretty good. And the second effect, which is on all turns, whenever a player's Digimon is played or digivolved by an effect, if you have a Tamer, you can digivolve into a Imperialdramon fighter mode from your hand without paying its cost. So there's a couple of uses for the second effect. We do have the use of the Ace Imperialdramon, but we also are using the BT-12 Imperialdramon fighter mode for a reason we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, 3 of these for now. I wanted to run 4, but we don't really have the space for it, so I'm running it at 3 for now. And the deck can search it out pretty easily, so 3 is not really a problem. Next is another new card. It's 2 of the Imperialdramon fighter modes from BT-16. So this is also a new rare, so very affordable. Activates by Blast Evolving. You can Blast Evolve it. On play or on evolution, you can return one of your Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as this card to the bottom of the deck. So a very good control card because since you're Jogressing, odds are you're going to have a pretty thick stack. So your opponent, unless they're also playing a Jogress deck, they're probably going to get bottom deck. And then the other effect is end of attack once per turn. When this Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon, and then you have Dragon mode in this card's source, you can return up one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So bottom decking a card is very, very good as well. And yeah, 2 of those. Next, we are going to be running 2 of the Imperialdramon fighter mode from BT-12. So this one evolves for 2 on top of a Dragon mode. And on evolution, you can suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution sources. Then you can return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the owner's hand, and then by returning one of your Dragon modes from this card's source to the hand, you can return all of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck instead. So pretty good. We'll go over all the effects first. So the second effect is on all turns, this card gets plus 1000 DP for every color in its source. And then while this card has 2 more colors in its source, you get plus 1 security attack, and it has blocker. So why are we running this? First off, it does have 2 checks, so that is pretty good. And if you guys remember, this one lets you digivolve into this for free if your opponent digivolves or plays a Digimon by an effect, which a lot of decks do now actually. So what you can do is, since people still run the X antibody, they can attack with it, and then they'll use the X antibody to digivolve into the Digimon with an effect. And assuming they resolve all of their on-attack skills, you can then digivolve into this one and return it to the bottom of the deck. So even if they do have a Digimon with a thicker stack than you, you can still return it to bottom, which is quite good. And then you can set up for on your turn, you can set up for a 2 security attack Imperialdramon. So quite good. It also kind of if you're playing against a deck that goes wide, if they already have some Digimons in rest or no sources, for example, if they're playing D Brigade where they have a lot of Commandramons on the board, you can Digivolve into this one with the effect, and then you can just bottom deck all of their suspended Digimon, which is really good. So punishes for that. This is kind of like a meta call. If you're playing in an area where you know, Digivolving with effect or playing cards with effect is not often played, then you can opt to run less of this and run more of the Ace instead. But I think 2 of this is a nice option to have, just for, you know, attacking for extra security, or, you know, as the situation mentioned before. So next, for the level 5s, we are running 4 of the Imperialdramon from BT-16. So this is new Imperialdramon with Partition, and its effect is, on evolution, you can rest all your opponent's Digimon with equal or less sources in this card, and then if this card is Jogressed until the end of opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon cannot unsuspend. And then at the end of attack, you can rest one of your opponent's Digimon, and if this card does this effect did not activate, you can unsuspend. So you can potentially do an extra attack with this one, and this one sort of dodges effects that pop active Digimon, so kind of a niche benefit. And the inherit skill just gives you Partition, which is pretty good as well. Next, we are going to be running 2 of the BT-12 Imperialdramon. This card is in here because it combos really well with the new Davis and Ken. So when this card digivolves, you can strip the top 3 sources from your opponent's Digimon, and then on the end of its turn, 2 of your opponent's Digimon with no sources cannot attack. So it's a pretty good stun. And by combining with the Davis and Ken, this one, you can potentially source strip 6, which pretty much strips a whole stack if they're not playing a Jogress deck. Even if they're playing a Jogress deck, it strips down pretty much most of their sources, so there's not much they can do, which is really nice, because you want to strip the sources so that you can activate your other effects that punishes them for not having more sources than you. And we're running 2 of the Imperialdramon from ST9. This one isn't here because you can do extra attacks, and this one bottom decks 6k or less, so it's pretty good for that as well. It potentially gets rid of Digimon that can blast evolve into level 5s, like your opponent's level 4s, so pretty good for that. So rank 2 of these. So rank 2-2, just for a little bit more offensive and more defensive options, though you can opt to adjust the ratios according to however you like. Some people like to run 7 level 5s instead, and they opt to run one of the Imperialdramons, but I think having all 3 as an option is pretty nice. For the level 4s, we are going to be running 4 of the Stingmon from ST9, so this one lets you play it for 3 costs, as long as you have a blue Digimon in play. And then the inherit skill is, on attack, if you have a blue Digimon, then you can draw 1, so pretty good Stingmon. Next, we are going to be running 4 of the XVmon from BT-12. I like this XVmon just because it gives you jamming. Some people might opt to run the EX1 XVmon. I don't like that one as much because the inherit from this one lets you get +1 memory, so it helps you extend your plays. But the other people might debate whether if you're playing the EX1 XVmon, you can get extra attack in, which is also a valid option. So I think having this is fine. People also opt to not run XVmon at all, and they run the Raidramon instead because it is a blue and green, which lets you have a little bit more flexibility when you're digivolving into your level 5s. So level 4s are really flexible. There's a lot of different options you can run right now, so really up to your personal preferences, but I like the extra memory gain from this and the inherit jamming. But it does give you potentially 1 less attack, especially if you don't really want to attack with this XVmon because it is a 4k, maybe 5k if you have the Minimon, but it does give you 1 less attack, but that's okay because the extra memory lets you climb higher earlier in the game. So next, for the other level 4 running the Toge, what's it called? Toge Mongumon. Yes, this is the Wormmon. The Wormmon version of the Digimon. So it is a blocker and it has Armor Purge. And then on both players' turn, when this card is when an opponent's Digimon becomes rests, you can trash the top card from their Digivolution source, and then one of your Digimon with no evolution source cannot attack or block in the end turn. So this is actually really, really good. It's a power, in my opinion, it's kind of a power creep egg. Just because it has so many effects, and it also works well with the rest of your deck because Soul Stripping is an added bonus, and it being an Armored Purge card is very nice as well, which is why some people might run the Digimon. But this Digidrops on top of Wormmon for 2, which is why I'm running this over Digimon. Being an Armored Purge is good because we do have a Wormmon, which we are going to go over now actually. This new Wormmon lets you Digivolve into a Insectoid or a free level 4 from your trash for 1 cost less. So what this means is, if you push this out during your main phase, or if you play it with your Davis or Ken, you can Digivolve into this from your trash for 1 cost. Actually, all of these for 1 cost. But for the sake of purposes, let's just say we blocked with this one the previous turn, and this one goes in the trash. And assuming they don't have an extra attack to get rid of your other Digimon, you can then Digivolve back into this for 1 cost, which lets you set up for another Jogger's play, which is very good. So running 4 of these. Main reason I'm running Minimon is because this one can only Digivolve on top of Minimon for 0 or a red or blue card for 1. So it can't actually Digivolve on top of another green egg, which is really funny, but it's totally understandable. This card is really, really strong, and it's the main reason why I'm running a Wormmon base instead of a Vmon base for this set. I think being able to Digivolve is from trash for 1 less is just really, really good, especially combined with the Davis and Ken. Alright, next for the other Wormmons, we're going to be running the BT-12 Wormmon. This one on play lets you look top 3 and lets you grab a Imperialdramon or a free type, as well as a card with Ken in its name. So, very good. It's pretty good. Yeah, not much else to say about that. You can continuously recycle this with the Davis and Ken because it lets you slap down a Wormmon at the beginning of your main phase. So, if you're bricking or something, that card really helps you out. So, quite good. And we're also running the Wormmon from the movie. This is the P-18 Wormmon. This one lets you look at top 3, and then you can add a 2-color card and a card with Ken in its name, and add it to your hand. So pretty similar to this Wormmon, but we have 2 searchers now, which is pretty good. Alright, next for the Tamers, we're running 2 Davis. We're still running Davis over the Ken because the Davis does let you search for a blue and a green card, and in a Douglas deck like this, I think that is pretty good. And having a setter just lets you have more plays. So starting at 3 is pretty important in this deck, but it's not super essential. Like, you can still do a lot without having 3, but having 3 just lets you set up for a combo faster. And we're also running 3 of the Davis and Ken. I think this card is very, very good in this deck because it gives you a lot of value. You can play a Vmon or a Wormmon for free every main phase, beginning of your main phase. It does bounce back to your hand during your opponent's end phase, but that's okay because most of the time you will be using the newly played Wormmon for either a Jogger's play or a search, and oftentimes you'll be able to get a combo piece with the search, so you can either Jogress into your Imperialdramon, or you can have a setup for an ace play next turn, or if it stays on the field and your opponent doesn't kill it somehow, it goes back to your hand and you can recycle it next turn. But most of the time in this current meta, your opponent will have a way to get rid of it, but getting a free search is pretty good. But it is 4 cost to hard cast, so it's a little bit expensive, but I think being able to play a Wormmon is every turn is just good value. Also, this card has a second skill, which is when one of your Digimon digivolves into a blue or green Digimon by suspending this Tamer, you can get one member back. And if you are DNA digivolving, you can trash any 3 sources from your opponent's Digimon, which is really good. You can strip important sources, so you can kind of snipe them off, which is really nice. And again, it combos really well with this one, because you can potentially just get rid of something really big by stripping 6. And then digivolving this afterwards, you can just get rid of it. So next, we're running 2 Gig Megadeth. So Megadeth is here as a security bomb and just cheap removal. So I think 5 cost removal is pretty good. And even if you can't remove, you can still rest something. If it's a security bomb, you can potentially stop a lethal attack, which is very nice. So running 2 Megadeth for that reason. Next, we are running 3 of the green memory boosts. We're only running the memory boost for consistency booster in this deck, just because I don't really have space for the green training. You can try to make space for it by cutting out some of the level 5s and maybe level 4s. Some people might even cut out the level 6s. But I don't think it's super necessary in this deck, just because there's a lot of ways to digivolve for cheap or reduce cost. So I think having 2 memory just to play around with is enough. But you can definitely make space for the training if you want. But since we are running the Vmon, X-Vmon, sometimes your training might whiff. So I think having this is better, just because you can look at the top 4, which reduces your chances of whiffing. And last but not least, we are running 1 Ice Ball. So this is here to just stall your opponent for a bit, just to get your combo pieces. I think this is a very flexible slot, but I think Ice Ball is okay. It's okay in this deck. I think if you want to run another green memory boost, you can. If you want to run another slot, you can. But I think the Ice Ball has saved me many times from opponent just overwhelming me on a turn where I can set up for the next turn and go for game. So I think having the Ice Ball is pretty good. It's also a nice security bomb, just because sometimes they might not be expecting it. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a very fun deck to play, and I think the deck is actually a lot more consistent now, and it's faster than before as well. Just because there's a lot of ways to speed up your plays, and there's easier ways to jog rest. You don't have to fully have like a Digimon on the board for a full turn and then jog resting next turn. With the addition of the new Wormmon, your jog rest plays are just so much easier, because you just need 3 memory to go into your level 5. You need 2 for this one, for example, X-Vmon, 2 for that. Maybe you have it in the racing area, you push it out, digivolve that. And then if you have the Wormmon on the board already, or if you play it with the Davis and Ken, you can digivolve into this for 1, and that's 3 memory, and then you can digivolve into your level 5, which is really nice. And please keep in mind, since when you jog rest, it gets rid of the bounce effect. It's a new Digimon, so it won't have to return back to your hand at the opponent's turn. So keep that in mind. But that is it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to support the channel, feel free to use the affiliate links down below. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is Karataku, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!